What's going on, everybody? Thanks for tuning in to another episode of Florida Prison Talk. As promised, I got my boy Domi here, man. Y'all done heard Domi's name plenty of times, over and over again. I got my boy Domi here, and without no further ado, we gonna get right into it, man. Hey, check this out real quick, Domi. You from you born in VA?
Yeah, I was born in Virginia, yeah.
Okay, so check this out. Being from Virginia, how did you end up in the Florida Department of Corrections?
Well, so I moved from Virginia. I went out to live in Miami. And then when I was living in Dade County for a few years, and then I got caught up in Orlando. I was out there doing some work. So then, I got charged with some kidnappings and shit. So I went to prison for 7 years.
Wow. So before you went to prison, how long was you living in Miami for?
About 2 years.
Okay. And with that being said, being from Virginia, going into a Florida prison, was that hard for you?
It was. I wouldn't say it was a lot different because I've been in prison in Virginia too. So I mean, The dudes out there in Florida don't like people from the DMV, like up north. So they always be, talking shit about, DMV this, y'all niggas from up north is blah blah. So I was getting into a lot of problems up there, man, because I was the only one basically from this area down there. So
okay, got you. And how old was you when you caught the case?
21.
You was 21? Okay, and
yeah.
So when you caught this case, was you pre-trial? You was in Dade County Jail, or before you went to prison?
No. I caught the case in Osceola County, so right there in Kissimmee. Yeah.
Okay. All right. And they gave you 7 years?
Yeah, they gave me 7 years. Yeah.
All right. And so after you got those 7 years, what was the first institution you hit?
Well, after you leave the county, you go to the closest reception center. So for me, that was Orlando Reception Center. So I was there for 45 days. But the first compound I hit was Hardy CI.
Okay.
But I've been to 10 different prisons. I think 11.
In Florida?
Yeah.
Wow. And being in prison. So did you run with any organization?
I'm a Latin king. So we went to all my brothers out there watching the video too. So ADR.
All right. And before we get any further, how did you end up meeting King Shine? Where did you guys meet at? Was it at Hardy?
Yeah, no. King Shine, that's actually my godfather, man. And to say this, he's locked up right now too. So hopefully he gets out soon, man. He got court this month, so I hope everything goes good with him. But I met Shine at Charlotte CI when I was in that was probably 3 camps later, and he's my godfather, meaning he's the one that brought me into being a Latin king. So we met at Charlotte.
Okay. I'll get into that later. Let's back it up. So when you get the Hardy CI, what kind of place is Hardy CI? Was it laid back? Was there a lot of stuff going on?
Nah, at that time it was around 2000, I don't know, 2012, 13, somewhere around there. And it was straight. You were just locked down in the dorm, or not behind the cell, but in the dorm, so they wouldn't run a wreck and canteen all the time. But I mean, there was a lot of jacks. So if you had bread and or whatever you did, some people like to smoke, get high, smoke cigarettes, or be on a jack. It was straight though. It wasn't that bad. I didn't last too long. I lasted 3 months.
Well, what happened there? Why you lasted 3 months?
Well, because I got in a fight, and me and this other dude got in a fade in the room, and then he snitched on me, told him I had a knife in my room, so he came ran down on me, caught me with a knife. I did 60 days in a box, and then that's when I get shipped to Charlotte after I left Hardy.
Okay. So you did 60 days in a box. You get shipped to Charlotte.
Yeah.
You get to Charlotte. Let's speak on Charlotte. How was Charlotte when you got there? Was it laid back?
Nah. Charlotte was so turned, bro. That shit. The pound was wide. Basically, when I say wide open, meaning because a lot of other compounds control movement. You know what I'm saying? But Charlotte, you can go to dorm to dorm to dorm. So a lot of people in other different prisons will start problems or owe debts, knowing that this person from the other side of the compound can't come get to you. Charlotte's not like that. So it was wide open. It was wild. People were getting stabbed every day at Charlotte.
Man, that's what I've heard so many stories about Charlotte. I had 2 cousins come home from Charlotte, man. So let's
that was my favorite compound though.
It's what?
I said that was my favorite compound of all the prisons I went to though.
No, it was the favorite. What made it your favorite?
It was like the streets, bro. Anything you wanted, liquor, bars. Me and Shine used to do bars all the time at that time. But anything you wanted to do, you were there. It was fucking COs, phones. You were hanging out.
Got you. And let's you being a Latin King, how did that start? When you got to Charlotte, that's when that started?
Yeah, so I ended up going to the dorm. Right. So okay. My bad. So yeah, when I got to Charlotte, the first dorm I went to was B dorm, and then that's when I met Shine at. See, I wasn't affiliated at this time when I first got to Charlotte, but you know, it's like, you know, I can't go into a lot of specifics, but you know, when you're trying to become, most of the time, you know, when you become a king, you don't look to become a king. Usually the kings come to you, and you know, and like the way you walk, the way you move, how you respond to other people. So, and that's what happened. I started hanging out with Shine, and then I didn't even know he was Latin King at that time. And then he was like, "Hey, bro, you know, blah 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 blah," and you know, that's how the Latin King. That's how I started becoming Latin King. It was a long process, but you know, yeah.
You know, okay, and so being that you say Charlotte was your favorite camp, what's because a lot of the story that I've heard from Shine and other people, that you happen to be in like all of the stories, man. Domi this, Domi that, Domi. I'm not lying, man. In every story, so I got to get in contact with this guy. What are some of the being at Charlotte? What would you say about the conflicts you got into? Was it a lot of conflict there? Was you guys at war a lot?
So as far as, you know, so me and Shine at that time, me and Shine were there for almost 3 years at Charlotte, and most of the people don't last there because either they check in or get stabbed or whatever. But so a lot of problems, you know, with me looking white. I'm not white, but I'm Dominican, but a lot of people think I'm white. So and especially in Florida, it's different up north. Up here, and you know, in Virginia, if you're in prison, you know, they don't say, "Oh, you're white, you soft, or you pussy," or whatever. But down there, it's like that. So I used to get in a lot of problems, and you know, people trying to. You know, I really didn't get tried too many times, but I hear people talking, and then I'll go and confront it, and then they don't like the way I talk about it, and then I'll stab them or I'll fight them or do something like that. But yeah, I got into a lot of conflicts, wars with the Latin Kings. I think we only had 2 wars at that time, the whole time I was there.
Can you elaborate on those a little bit?
Well, on the wars.
Yeah, or the conflicts you've been into.
Well, I start with the war. The first war we got into was with the MS-13s. So the MS-13, you know, one of my brothers named Latrusa, I mean, you know, Alice in English, he got into it MS-13. He cut MS-13 in the face, and then 3 MS-13s ran down on him and stabbed him like 40 times. But he rocked out though. He rocked out. Latrusa rocked out by himself too. And after that happened, it wasn't no more talking at this point. So every time, and it was crazy because at the same time we went through with the MS-13s, the Bloods were going into it with each other. The East Side and the West Side was going through it with each other.
Wow.
And then the ZMF, and the G's were going through at the time too. So every time the door popped and we came out, somebody was getting stabbed. We go on lockdown. Then we get out, we go to child, people chasing around, you know, and it happened too. You know, me and Sean chasing down people behind canteen. We stabbed a few people. We go and get away with it, go back to the dorm. So it lasted for about, I would say, like 4 days, and then the administration sent all the MS-13s off the compound because they kept getting stabbed. So that particular war, only one of my brothers got stabbed, and that was Lutusa. The rest of them, we just wiped them out.
Wow, that's
yeah.
Wow. So the way this compound scene, everything was going on, huh? So
yeah.
When stuff like this is happening, do the COs brush it down, or you guys make sure you handle it where the COs don't know about it? Like,
well, it depends on the circumstances, man. Like, if you know, there's been times, for example, that I was in a child hall, you know, and you know, in Florida, and you know, the Department of Corrections in Florida, a lot of people like to cut in front of people, and that's like kind of like a normal over there. But me, you know, being, you know, being from up here, I don't like that, you know, because it's basically you're saying, you know, fuck you, I'm gonna eat before you, and I don't care that you're waiting in line. So, you know, I feel some type of way. In this one particular situation, you can't handle it. You know, certain things you got to handle on the spot. You can't wait until later on. So, you know, one time in the child hall, dude cut in front of me. I said, bro, man, you can't be cutting in front of me like that. He said something, and I popped off on right there, and I beat his ass right there in front of the COs. But the thing is that Charlotte, the COs don't really give a fuck, man. You know, so it's not like other compounds. Other compounds, like, you know, Century, when I was at Century, you couldn't do nothing. If you do anything in front of you, you're going to CM. And I've been to CM one time too as well.
Wow. You've been to, how was CM, man? Was it tough mentally?
Yeah, I mean, you locked down 24 hours a day. You know, like you come out 3 times a week for shower. You know, you by yourself, and especially if you go to CM1, you by yourself could be up to 12 months, or you get a review every 6 months. So, then you get to CM2, then you can get a bunkie. And if you don't like your bunkie, you're in your bunkie fighting all the time. And people think because you lock behind the doors, like on CM, ain't nothing going on. That's
That's what
where the
I'm
most
saying,
shit
right?
going on.
Oh, it is?
Yeah, a lot of people get stabbed on CM because the COs, you can be like, hey, you tell the COs, hey man, I got a problem with this dude, blah, 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 blah. Y'all go into the cage outside to the red cage and y'all fight. A lot of times they fight and he don't like to lose, so he pulls out a knife and tries to stab him. You know what I'm saying?
Wow.
So yeah, there's always shit going on.
Yeah. Okay. And speaking of that, how about this as far, because I hear a lot of people talking about my cousins come home from prison, man. My brother right now doing life in prison right now, upstate. I hear a lot of people speak about the guards beating up inmates. Is it really go down like that? Like whooping
Yeah,
ass?
it is. See, the thing is, on most compounds, as far as like my brothers, the Latin Kings, we have a lot of respect, not just from the inmate population, but administration too, because we run under certain rules. We can't just down there it's called gunning. You know what I'm saying? Like you jack off your dick to like a female officer. We don't allow shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We got so many rules we live by, so the administration respects it. Whereas other gangs, they could do whatever they want and and shit like that. But it's definitely I mean, if you don't have respect on certain compounds, they won't touch the Latin Kings unless they assault the officer. If someone assaults the officer, especially, it don't matter who you are, you're gonna get your ass beat. But yeah, I've seen with my own eyes officers jump people, kill people, meaning like pepper spray, choke them out. Shit happen all the time, man. Those COs are dirty, and the problem is ain't nobody there to stop them. There's no people watching over them to make sure they're doing what they're supposed to do. It doesn't happen. So a lot of times you got to be careful with the COs down there.
Okay. And you say you've been to 11 different institutions?
Yeah, 11 different institutions. And yeah, the COs will even put hits on you. That happened at Charlotte.
What? Talk about it.
Yeah, so with COs, especially female staff, if they like to play, they like to use, because man, we don't get to see females unless it's the staff, like the COs or the nurses. So when an officer wants to act like she fucking with you, you're gonna be like, oh shit, nah, I don't want to lose this bitch or whatever. And I seen it where she'll be fucking with the Bloods, and then she don't like this dude that she's fucking when she's sending the Bloods to tell him to flip him. But that's really wrong because you're working with the police. You know what I'm saying? Gotcha. So you don't do shit like that. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But shit's wild, man. The loudest ones in prison, most of the time they be the police, bro. They be snitching.
Oh, for real? Got you.
Yeah.
That's crazy. So check this out. What kind of, being that you in prison, like you was in Latin Kings and stuff, what kind of you don't got to get into it deeply. What kind of hustle did you do while you were in there to get money? What kind of hustle did you guys do in there? Period. Prisoners, period.
Extortion is really not that big down there, but people do extort people. You know what I'm saying? A lot of people sell sacks. They get tunchi and put it into like little sacks, sell it for $3, $5, depending where you at. Up in the panhandles, like $5 a sack. Down south, meaning like Miami, Orlando, shit like that, it'll be like $3 a sack. You can sell phones if you bring in the bomb, or if you get someone to bring you in the bomb. You know what I'm saying? And that's what I did. I used to send people the bomb, and then they'll bring it in for me, and then I sell 50s. So you get like a chapstick cap, and you fill it up with the dope, and then that would be called a 50, and that's for $50, and you'll sell it like that. So you spend like $200 for an ounce, and then you can make $4,000. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, got you. That's a good turnaround. So would you agree that with the gang stuff and most of the wars and everything, is it over drugs usually? Is that what the conflict is usually over?
Sometimes it's over drugs. A lot of times the thing is, in all gangs, you know what I'm saying, a lot of people doing drugs. Even my own brothers, some of them are doing drugs as well. So if you get addicted to some of these drugs, you start doing stuff that you won't normally do. But sometimes it's about disrespect, you know what I'm saying, or someone trying to run down on someone else's brother didn't know, they catch a fade, he doesn't like getting his ass whooped, then he wants to stab him. But normally it's a lot of politics, and I'll tell you that. You guys be a politician in prison in Florida. Yeah, okay. It's a lot of politics. A lot. So and it's all about your reputation, man. If someone don't respect you, they're gonna talk to you any type of way. It don't matter who you are. You know what I'm saying? So
when it comes to housing you guys, because you got the people on the west, they say they get housed this way. People in Arizona say they get housed this way with this gang, this gang. When you guys are getting housed in the dorm, is there any kind of segregation amongst the gangs as far as the bunks? Like, could the bunk next to you be a person from another gang, or it doesn't work like that?
All right. Well, so me being that I had a warrant out in Maryland. So when I got done, I had to get extradited to Maryland. I was always max custody, so meaning HO4, meaning I was behind 3 doors at all times. And so my bunkie, it was only one person. So people like you're saying, they're typically like level 3s. They're like medium custody or minimum custody. That it's called open bays, like dorms. But I was never in a dorm. I was always behind the door. That's what we call it down there, behind the door. And they don't care who they put you. They put you with other gangs. They put you with like neutrons. We call neutrons people that's not part of gangs.
Okay.
Even sometimes they try to put you with faggots, but being in the gang, you can't be in a room with a faggot. So most of the time we put the faggot to the door, and then we had the room to ourselves for a while.
And what that mean by putting them on the door to the viewers? What that mean?
That means you tell me, hey, bro, you can't. So putting on the door means, hey, basically you tell me, hey, bro, you can't live here. You got to pack up your shit and go to knock on the door and tell them, hey, man, I can't live with this guy. You know what I'm saying? So most of the time, either they put him in the box or they just move him to another room or another dorm.
Okay.
But
and
people get put to the door all the time. You don't got to be gay.
Okay. And being that you say you was behind the door most of the time, did you always get along with your cellmates, or here and there?
Nah, I fought a few of my cellies before.
Okay.
I, like most of the time, but I fought a few of them sometimes. You know what I'm saying?
All right. Man, I appreciate it. Let's flip the conversation now, man. We got through that. How important, man, is letters and visits in prison? Being that your family's from VA, did you get a lot of visits? How important is that, man?
Well, I mean, it's very important to stay communicated, put in the communication with your family. Now it's a lot easier because they have a thing called the JPay tablets and, Messenger. They can email people. But the beginning of my bed, there wasn't that. So, and in Florida, they make it almost impossible for you to get on the blue phone and talk to your family. You got to go through so much stuff. And, like me personally, I didn't get no visits because I was always getting into trouble. Out of the 7 years I did, I spent almost 5.5 years on lockdown 24 hours a day because I was always getting into problems, stabbing people, you know what I'm saying? And, thankfully, in Florida, they don't care if you stab somebody. You're not getting extra time.
Okay,
they just put you in the box for 60 days. I put you on CM.
Okay. And with that being said, out of the whole, people always talk about the bad part of prison and everything like that. Did any good come from you being in prison? What did you learn? Like, what good came from it that you learned by being in prison, man?
Well, I mean, honestly, for me, there's always in life, there's always positive and negatives. It definitely in Florida prison, I can say, because I've been in prison in 3 states. So definitely Florida is the worst one. They teach you to be violent. They teach you to be, fuck the police. They teach you to be segregated, being with your own people, being Spanish, being black, being white, whatever, they teach you that. For me, what I learned is more about myself because I spent most of the time, on lockdown. So I learned more about myself and I started doing some like deep searching within myself, to become a better person. But it's kind of hard, you could be a good person in prison, but you can't show it because then people are going to be like, oh, bro, let me get this, let me get that. And they're going to start abusing.
Gotcha.
You know what I'm saying? So,
yep. Okay.
So, I still talk to a lot of people that's in prison right now. So, sometimes when I can, I'll be looking out for the people in prison because I know how hard it is not having nothing. But, I can say that, you heard it. My reputation speaks for itself. Even people in prison right now, will tell you about me too as well.
Yes,
so, there was a lot of stories. Shine used to tell a lot of stories. There's a lot of stories he didn't tell. You know what I'm saying? We had some funny stories. Me and Shine never got beat up. I could say that.
Okay.
I guess I could say in Century CI, I got in a fight over kiosks. And Shine wasn't there with me. I already got shipped. He went home at this point. I was still in prison. I just got out last year. I fought a blood, and typically if you fight another gang, it's usually war most of the time. But regardless, and people know me, it's like, I don't care who you are, what gang you are. you're gonna respect me, because I'm not going around blatantly disrespecting people, you know,
Okay.
because there's people in gangs that do that. Just because
Okay.
you're in a gang, they talk to you any type of way, knowing that they got 50 brothers on the compound. So this dude tried to jump in front of me, you know, and I was like, hey, bro, listen, that's not gonna happen, man. I've been waiting, blah, blah, blah. And he was like a real attitude. I said, man, you know what, man, he got me fucked up. So I go put my shoes on and I give him another chance. You know what I'm saying? I say, hey, bro, listen, what's up with all that disrespect at the kiosk? So he got mad. He's like, what's up, nigga? You trying to check me? And I popped him right there. Bam, 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 beating his ass. And two of my brothers were right there, and then they jumped him for no reason, to be honest. And they didn't have to start jumping in because I was already whooping his ass. And so basically, that was even worse. You don't jump another gang member, especially for the viewers out there. You know, Eastside Bloods is probably one of the biggest gangs in Florida. You know, they're well respected, and there's a lot of them, you know that I fought with too. And supposedly we're supposed to be under the 5. You know, basically we call each other primos in prison in Florida. So,
Okay.
you know, typically we don't go through it with the Bloods. Sometimes we do, sometimes we don't. But so he ran back, told one of his he told one of his people. He came back into the dorm. I was chasing around trying to stab him. And so basically I knew it was gonna be worn out. But then when I went, just because of the respect we had on the compound, we talked it out and we went to the next dorm. Everybody involved, we had a one-on-one fight. I fought him 3 times. One of the times he almost knocked me out. Yeah, he almost knocked me out the first time. I ain't gonna lie, he dropped me. And you know, that was the first time since I was in prison I thought I was gonna lose a fight. But
so y'all fought 3 times back to back? 3 times back to back?
Yeah, back to back, yeah.
And then your other brothers was fighting too? They was fighting other 2 Bloods?
So it was one-on-one. Yeah, so there was a bunch of Bloods right there and a bunch of Kings right there. So, but because it was me and him fought first 3 times back to back. We kept fighting until, you know, we say we done. You know what I'm saying? You straight or you're not straight. All right, let's go again. Blah, 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 blah. We keep going until there's understanding. We usually in prison, we call that you getting understanding. You know what I'm saying? Like, we're going to keep fighting until we get this shit resolved.
Okay.
So my other 2 brothers that was following into the incident, we went into another dorm where they can close the door. So they slammed the door and they started fighting in the room for 5 rounds. You know what I'm saying? Back to back to back to back to back.
Wow.
So yeah, there was a lot of like pressure times. You know what I'm saying? And sometimes it's stressful, man, because you never know, you know, when you're gonna get stabbed. You know, and people serious there, man. They're gonna stab you for nothing too, for nothing.
Yeah, but that's a crazy existence, man. So after that war, everything was peaceful. Did that pretty much piece it up? After those one-on-ones, was everything straight after that?
Well, the thing is, before then, the Bloods was always trying to like overstep the boundaries. You know what I'm saying? Like touch our routes. Routes meaning like the drugs that would get brought in. You know, and we had a mule, meaning someone that's coming and bringing our drugs in front, and they trying to go talk to him and step down on him, and they basically weren't giving us respect. So when that happened, they started to respect us more because they see that, hey, you know, they're about this shit, and so you need to do that sometimes. You know what I'm saying? At that compound, you know, there's been times, you know, and you know, I was a pretty high-ranking king in prison. You know what I'm saying? Especially at other compounds. I've been the enforcer. I've been a lot of other things in there. You know what I'm saying? So at this particular time, we got to throw it with the ZMF too. You know, I fuck with them boys too, but it's like you know.
I think it's breaking up. Is it breaking up? Yep, it's breaking up. You hear me?
Yeah.
I think it's breaking up. Hold up.
I can see you now.
All right. All right. So you say, who was that? You say you had war with the ZMF. What happened?
Well, yeah. Well, over there. So what happened was one of the ZMF owed my brother some money, and this old dude, my brother was like 60 years old. So the dude basically saying he's not gonna pay him. My brother slapped